Grace and peace. Hope y'all are well on this first day of Black History Month. Roberto here with you. Happy to be here this evening with you. Wishing y'all a wonderful day and a wonderful evening. Glad that you could be with us this evening. We've been busy, y'all. We've been busy doing a lot of lives, interviewing a lot of great people. It's been a blessing just to connect with the many wonderful people that I get to interview. So, welcome to our classroom. In this space, we talk about education, which is inclusive of, but not limited to, what happens in schools. Education is taking place whenever and wherever we are willing to learn. I am your host, Roberto Germán, and our classroom is officially in session. Excited to be with you once again. And real quick, before we jump into our content for this evening, just want to remind y'all, if you're an educator who loves to travel, then join us on a trip with our friends at Teach with Love Global, woman and BIPOC-owned teacher travel organization, offering stress-free teacher retreats where you could unwind, connect, build community, and 100% of the proceeds support underserved students traveling the world. We talked about that on Saturday. So if you're with that, you like traveling, please look into Teach with Love Global. Beautiful vibes, wonderful community, expand your cultural knowledge. Travel to places like Switzerland, Peru, España, Egypt. And Lorena and I will be leading the trip to Egypt in 2023. You love to travel, educator at large? Go to Teach with Love Global. We love to have you on the trip. That Egypt trip is going to be all the way turned up. Egypt 2023. They're offering an Egypt trip this summer also. But Egypt 2023 with me and Lorena is going to be live. And I know Tiffany Jewell's going to be leading the Switzerland trip. So that's wonderful, wonderful. So hoping that y'all could join us. I know some of y'all who were on the live with us on Saturday. I know there's at least a couple of people who already put down their deposits. Bags packed. That's what's up. That's what's up. We're going to see you there. We'll see you before. The spots are limited. Check out Teach with Love Global. Would love to have y'all there. And tell a friend so we could just have the most amazing group and just learn so much from traveling to Egypt. Learn from being there and the culture there and the people there. Learn from each other. And obviously learn from within. So, hey, this evening I'm going to have Amelia Allen Sherwood. Gonna have the homie on, the Montessori homie on. Excited about that. Met Amelia at Montessori for Social Justice Conference several years ago, and she's just amazing. An amazing anti-bias and anti-racist organizer, mother, educator, just focusing on African-centered learning space and centering Black children and using Montessori pedagogy as a tool. So, you know, she's got a lot to share with us, and we're going to be blessed by having her on this evening, talking about somebody who's with the Black Homeschooling Collective, which is a healing hub for the community. And she currently works at Elm City Montessori as the anti-bias and anti-racist director on Quinnipiac land, better known as New Haven, for y'all that know about up north of Connecticut. So really grateful to have Amelia with us this evening, and we're gonna get it in. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get it in on this episode, and given that it's Black History Month, I figured this is very timely. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna keep the conversation where it needs to be. Because there's certain forces that want to knock us off and want us focused on negative energy and whatnot, want to cause threats. I mean, some of y'all may have read the article about the HBCUs, bomb threats and whatnot. Man, they can't stop us. They can't stop us. We're going to be talking about centering black children. And these are the reasons why we have to do this, right? Because they're constantly being under attack. But ain't nobody gonna steal our joy. Ain't nobody gonna steal our joy. And we're gonna talk about centering black children and learn from Amelia. So, hey, y'all are in for a treat. Y'all are in for a treat. So, about to make it happen. Hey,
Beto,
what up?
the homie, the brother. What's
Hey,
up?
we here. We still standing.
We sure are. Oh my God.
Hey, it's good to see you.
I'm gonna say this now. Please forgive me. My children are upstairs and they may come in here for like a hug and a kiss before they go to bed.
Listen, you
It,
don't gotta
it
apologize
will
for
be
that
like
because
very
we
much,
talking about centering black children.
it will be very much loud. Like I hear them like through the walls right now. So hopefully you don't.
I can relate. I got a 7-year-old, a soon-to-be 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old, and they're all loud. And I expect it because we're Dominican, but it's a different thing to expect it and experience it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, yo, this is
This
louder than
loud.
I was anticipating. What's up? Bring it down.
For sure. For sure.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. If your children come in and you know they got to get their kiss and their hug, that's love.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Yes.
It's good to see you and hear your voice.
Yes, it's good to see you too.
Really been impressed with your work and your advocacy and just you as an educator. Since I met you at the Montessori for Social Justice Conference several years ago, and
Thank you.
following from afar and supporting your work. And I'm excited to have you talk about it on our platform and to have people learn from you and listen to all the wonderful stuff that you've been doing. So, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's jump in.
Let's also just take a moment because you be downplaying yourself in like the creation of how we started. Like I remember you and Lorena like guest speakers, keynote speakers at a very small Montessori for Social Justice conference, and people were stunned that you had a picture of Montessori with Tupac. It was epic, and I think I still have the screenshot of it, but I wanted to just put that in the ethers of that like incredible moment of not only your words but your poetry and Lorena and just like the babies were there and it
Yeah.
was a magical conference. It was great.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, sister. I stand by what I said when we were delivering the keynote. That was one of the best conferences I ever attended.
Yeah, it was good.
The whole vibe and the workshops and just like the thoughtfulness behind everything. Dope, dope, dope.
For sure.
And I'm listening to you now and I'm like, yo, wait a second. There might be a book here for me to write as it relates to Maria Montessori and Tupac Shakur.
I would be here for it. Okay.
All right, got you. I got a working on a poetry book that we're
Yeah.
aiming to publish this spring, hopefully in April. We're supposed to
Yes.
be in March, already pushed it back, but this is something that has been years in the making that for one reason or another kept putting off, and it's happening this year. It's
Yeah.
happening
Yeah.
this year for sure.
Yeah. Like
So
manifesting all that good writing, all of that good love, all of that.
thank you. Thank you. So you've been busy.
I
You've
love
been busy. Hey,
you. Busy. You gonna say hello?
what's up?
Because you're in the camera.
What's up? Salute to you, King.
All right. I love you. Have a good night. Close the door.
Hey, that's beautiful. You've been on the grind.
I've been trying.
You've been on the grind. Stop it. You've been busy. You've been busy. You took a leap of faith and decided to start your own school. And I'd love for you to share with us why you chose to do so, and also to tell us about this wonderful school that you are creating, because we need to know.
Close the door. So Sankofa Learning Center. Oh my goodness. When I think about Sankofa Learning Center and I think about everything that encompasses the word, right? Like, in order to plan for our children's future, we must reach back to reclaim our heritage and culture. So the meaning of Sankofa is a metaphorical symbol used by the Akan people of Ghana, and it's depicted as a bird with its head turned, taking an egg from its back. So it expresses the importance of reaching back to ancestral knowledge gained in the past and bringing it to present in order to make our liberation tangible. And when I think about this is a freedom dream for me. This is me literally living out my liberation. And I've always loved working with young children. So when I got out of college, I worked at a small Montessori program in the hood. And that was the last time I felt like me. That Montessori program, for folks that are in the Montessori world, they would call it Montessori-ish. But what I've learned and understood it to be is like that neighborhood actually wanted a Montessori program. And that's why they built the program. And who holds that knowledge and who holds that power, are white women. So white women came to the hood. They gave all of these beautiful materials. And when the going got tough and when the hood showed itself, right? Because when people live in the hood, there are a lot of things that happen because of the trauma that is in our neighborhoods. They left and they took their resources with them. So I say that story so much because I was one of those early educators in my field that like I didn't know that concept. And when I came to the public Montessori school that I'm at right now, I put all of these pieces together and I'm just like, they weren't Montessori-ish. Those materials, those resources were taken from them in ways that were extremely selfish and violent. And they doing what we do, which is having what they have and doing the best with what they got. So I say that story because the first time I was in a Montessori program, I was like, wow, this is great. This is beautiful. And then I slowly started to understand the systems and I started to understand like how much I wanted to get back into the classroom. So I'm going back to the classroom to come back home to myself and come back to my cosmic task. And Sankofa Learning Center will be an early learning center with a infant toddler program for starters, because that's what the community needs right now. I'm pretty sure where you were at before, infant toddler programs are in such high demand right now.
Yeah.
And eventually we'll have a primary classroom, which would be 3 to 6 year olds. And we'll have a Black homeschooling space. And ultimately, just like a hub for healing. We have a lot of beautiful Black healers that do Reiki and yoga and all of this dope stuff that we just want to provide space for. So I had a dream with my eyes wide open a couple of years ago, and there were babies on people's backs. We were doing outdoor learning. It was so incredible, right? And I've been trying to get back to that dream every time I go to sleep and every time I wake up. Like I think about Sankofa Learning Center in this very just organic way of coming back home to myself and wanting to be in that space of going back to the classroom. Because if you see me, I'm an administrator, I'm a leader in the building. I make good money. and I'm going back into a field that doesn't make a whole lot of money historically and are undervalued when we're thinking about early childhood education. So that is my dream. That's my freedom dream, and it's going to center Black children. It's going to center Black families, and I'm really, really excited. Last year, my ask was very simple. I said, I just need a little funds to get me a house. And the community showed up and showed out, and I was able to purchase my first home. So
Wow.
I'm a first-time home buyer, which has
Congrats.
lots of different challenges, as you know, living in the North. Okay, I had my
Yeah.
experience with the pipe busting and all of this other stuff, but I'm grateful for a husband that's handy and community and all of that. So yeah, just manifesting and growing this dream has really been incredible.
That's awesome. Praise God. One of the things I'm extracting from what you said is, this cycle of Black folks having resources stripped from them or not even made available in the first place.
For sure.
And yet we're innovators, right?
Here.
We find a way, we create something out of nothing, right? So when I think about Montessori, and Montessori, I came into it, like I don't have the traditional background and experience in Montessori. I came into it, helped the startup school.
Yeah.
Did not know too much about it before I got into it. And so I was learning on the job, and what an amazing learning experience, the highs and the lows of it. But one of the things that I took away from there, and I worked in a couple Montessori schools, one of the things that I left was like, oh, wait a second. These materials are great, but Montessori is not about the materials, it's about the method, right?
Yeah.
And so, when we think about it, or when I think about it philosophically, I think, all right, we might not have access to all the materials, but if we could take these concepts, and apply them and create different things. And now when I'm like, all right, well, we might even be able to create some materials, not maybe, we can create some materials that are also like speak more towards our culture,
Oh, for sure.
our communities.
Yeah. And I would also add to that is just like, I was talking to Ashley from Afrocentric Montessori, and we were just talking about like all the beautiful Black women. Like, I want to be a Joey, I want to be an Ashley, and like Montessori is good, but there's just so many other people that influence how I parent, influence how I teach, and just like you said, like it is about the pedagogy that is inherently within all Black people, within all brown people, because this is indigenous work. Like, this is work that has happened for centuries and centuries and centuries. When you think about being young and learning things for the first time and having independence, because your mama had to do some stuff and you had to do some stuff, right? Like, that's Montessori, right? Like, you need to take the chicken out of the freezer just like everybody else, because that's your responsibility, and that's helping our environment, that's helping our community in this house, right? Like, everybody has a role, everybody has a responsibility. So I think when we're thinking about Montessori in this way, it is always has always been inside of us, because this is who we are as a culture. We are collectivists in that way of wanting to be in community and making sure that our people are good, right? So we're going to teach our babies those same values, those same things, because we want that in our house. We want that in our community. So when I talk about Montessori, it is very like, she's all right. We love her. We love her materials.
Right.
Love the tower, love the brown stair. But this is us. And this is like a reclaiming of who we already are.
Absolutely. Can you share with us what are some things that you have learned along the way in regards to starting your own school? Because there might be some folks who are listening to you and have thought about starting their own school, or maybe they're going to be inspired by what you're talking about and they're going to want to start their own, whether it's a Montessori model or something
Yeah.
else. They want to start their own school to support kids in the community, to support our Black and brown kids. So what are some things that you've learned along the way?
Oh, to just trust that the funds will come.
Uh,
Like, and like
yeah, that's hard.
in that, and like manifesting like the abundance that I see and will have, right? Like, and doing it slow, because I will be fully funded in 2023, and I'm already manifesting that, right? Like, I'm already manifesting that it is going to be successful. I'm manifesting right now in this very moment that I'm not going to burn out. Because I'm going to have so much support around me, right? Like, I also think having a community that wants the school, right? Like, and that's why I'm being so slow and intentional right now, is because I want to make sure that I'm not doing the same things that these white folks are doing in our neighborhoods. Sankofa Learning Center is in a historically Black neighborhood, and I wanted to make sure that I bought into that neighborhood instead. Like, as a Black person, that's important to me,
Yeah.
right? uh,
Yes.
I want to make sure that people around me in my neighborhood know who I am. So the first day that we were doing work, there were people, all the neighbors are just like, "Did you buy this house?" Like, and I just felt so affirmed, because I was like, "Okay, I did the right thing. This is wanted. This is something that they want." They were like, "Oh, thank God. We thank God that you're not a developer. We thank God that you're not one of these people that are just out here trying to, make a couple of dollars, getting
Right.
a home right now." And I'm just like, yes, like this is us. And just seeing all the elders, seeing the children that are around that neighborhood right now, like, that gets me excited, and making sure that my dream is also their dream, right? Like, being able to have their input is so important to me. So that's why I've been super slow. There is a push to start this year in September, but I still need to build those relationships. I still need to be in a space where people can trust me, and you can't find trust and be in a trustworthy place without building those relationships first. So I would definitely say building relationships and manifesting the things that are already yours. For real, for real.
I appreciate you taking your time to launch your school and get buy-in from the community. That doesn't always happen, right? It sometimes, in many situations, it could feel like those who are starting a school are imposing themselves onto the community. So I commend you for that. And I'm glad that you're getting support from the community. And real quick, I want to pause to give you the opportunity to let us know, let the audience know. A quick plug. Like, if we want to support you,
Plug.
what quick plug? Just a quick plug. Just, a little something, something. If folks want to support you, because I'm sure some of these people listening right now are
Yeah.
inspired by what you're saying. A school in the community, someone who's not rushing and imposing themselves onto the community, building relationships with the community, doing it gradually,
Amen.
buying in the community, living amongst the people, which is one of my big issues
Yeah. Yeah.
with folks in schools. They're not on the ground. They're
Yeah.
not at the colmado, or the corner stores,
Mm,
or the local church, or
for-
they're not at the places where the people be at. But you're doing that, so salute, love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the people want to support you, how can they support you? Let's get to the plug.
Yeah, so I've been telling folks, like, to like, there are ways to give monetarily, and I can put that plug in and go to Sankofa Learning Center and, go to the support button. But there's other ways to do it that is not in those type of funds, like just wishing it well, just like coming into my DMs and saying, like, "I got you. I'm praying for this." You know what I'm saying? I'm putting you on my altar. I'm making sure that you are in spaces with me. And that has been the most important thing for me right now, is that Sankofa Learning Center has been put, the word, the name, the organization has been put in places and in tables that I have benefited from tremendously. So putting me and putting Sankofa Learning Center in a room full of rich people, full of people that have access to resources and funds, is the best thing that you can do right now for me, and making sure that you wish it well. For sure.
Hey, y'all heard that. So everybody knows somebody.
Right.
And if you don't, then you know somebody that knows somebody.
You
So
sure do.
share about Sankofa Learning Center, pass it along, post about it, give our sister Amelia some support. Can you share with us what are some specific strategies that Sankofa Learning Center will implement to center Black children and create an environment where they experience joy?
Yeah. So I really think about, especially when I am just like listening to the ancestors around like infant toddler, I'm just like, you sure you want me to do an infant toddler space? Because I'm primary trained. I think really thinking about womb through 6, like thinking about even before these babies come to me, I want to be able to have relationships with the family. So really centering family partnership, centering connection and joy. Like we're preparing for a Black History Month celebration in a couple of weeks, and that's just going to center Black businesses and Black authors and Black educators. Like we just like, that is my contribution, and to be able to do those things for the community feels good, because I want to be able to be a place of liberation and freedom, and always instilling that in the children that come. But I would say, like, just when you are first when you're first thinking about bringing your child to Sankofa Learning Center, you will have already had a good understanding of what it is. And when your children come through those doors, they are going to be prioritized. You know, like this like intentional way of prioritizing Black children and centering their culture, centering their identity is going to be like the main key ingredient, even in the babies. Okay. So I would say that definitely centering joy and centering Black children.
And it's so essential to do it in that stage, right? You know, oftentimes we think about, you know, our children, middle school and high school, or even early childhood, but you know, I'd love to have more conversations in which we're thinking ahead and talking about how it is that we could do what you're stating here in terms of have that approach in mind from womb to, I forgot the age you put on it.
Womb 6.
Womb to 6?
Mm-hmm.
From womb to 6, right? Because I think some of what happens with folks is that you may be on that journey where this is going to be your first child.
Yeah.
Perhaps you've never thought about these things because you haven't had to. So you might not be as aware of the options or lack thereof in your community. You might not understand how much it costs, right? Oh, it's a mortgage to send my kid to this Montessori school. Why?
Yeah.
You know, why isn't this wonderful option accessible to me? So,
and it will be accessible, and that's the reason why I'm that I will not plan for something that won't be accessible. Like it has to be sliding scale. It has to like, you know, even thinking about the model and talking with people, they're just like, well, how many people are going to be fully paid and not, you know, vouchers? And I'm just like, I'm pretty sure like 85% going to be vouchers. Okay. Like this is in the hood and for the hood. So, and those are the things that I'll probably have challenges is when you see Montessori, you know who is attracted to Montessori, right? So being able to make sure that I'm really standing firm in my values and who this particular African-centered Montessori land-based program is for is going to be interesting, especially in Connecticut.
right. Hey, you just got to keep pressing forward, Keep your
Yeah.
eyes on the prize. You got a wonderful vision, and know you got plenty of support, and you'll get more support as you continue
Yeah.
building vision and executing. To those that are following, listening, supporting, what is a message of encouragement that you want to offer them?
Yeah. I will say there was a moment. Um, I was about to buy the house and I just knew I had everything together. And my mortgage company was like, "Oh, you need another 2,500 before I went to close." And I was so distraught.
Mm.
And we were at a pool house at that time, and I told my friend that I haven't seen for a long time, and she was just like, "All right, like I'll text you." And at that point in time I was ready to give up. I was like, "This ain't for me. This is it, and I'm done." Like, this is the sign. And that night she and her husband Venmoed me $2,500. And I will say this to say that when you think that you've thrown in the towel, right back at God or right back or whoever, and they throw it back at you and they tell you, "Didn't I tell you that this is exactly what you're supposed to be? You were exactly where you needed to be at that same time when she was there to give you these funds." Is like, when you are at your lowest and thinking that you have thrown the towel in,
Yeah,
it's going to get thrown back at you, and it's going to be in abundance.
man, amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. I'd love to hear different people's messages of encouragement, and especially when they have stories to share, such as yours, where it looks like a hopeless situation.
Hopeless. Roberto, I
So,
was done. I was over it. I was crying in front of white people.
listen, I understand. I understand. I've been there. And I'm tempted to tell my own story, but this ain't about me. It's about you.
Listen,
And
listen.
so listen. Um, Thank you to your friend who
Yeah.
and, and her partner or husband that blessed you with the 2,500 so you could purchase the home, so you could stay there in the community, so that you could be a presence and have an impact and have an option with this school that is likely not an option to those in the community, right? There are just not a lot of schools like that center Black children, that have an African learning approach, that give us different perspective to culture and origins and whatnot. And so, salute to you. Keep pressing forward.
And always, like, to my educators out there right now, like, day in, day out, I am not in the classroom, but I have been in a school for the past uh for the past 8 years, and this has been so tumultuous. But I would say, for the fighters and warriors that are in schools right now, like, I have so much admiration for you. And to rest when you need to call out when you need to, and if your administrators are good and if you have good leadership, y'all will be okay, right? Like, the children will be okay, and we just want to make sure that you feel good and you feel rested. There's been plenty of days last week, Roberto, where I was rubbing backs, okay, getting people to nap, doing lunch, like making sure that people feel good,
No,
and
you're bringing me back right now. You're bringing me back
substituting,
to the
okay.
bathroom.
Because ain't nothing like at like 12 o'clock, 12:30, when those little babies need to get to bed, and you have to do what you have to do, because people are sick, people need to rest, and keep resting. We'll figure it out.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, folks, I hope you were able to extract some gems from Amelia this evening. Again, some of you may be thinking about starting your own school. Feel free to reach out. She could be a great resource to share the journey that she's been on, and some tips that she may have for you if that's what you're thinking about doing. I certainly hope that some of you are thinking about doing that, because we need more folks to rise up and start their own movement, start their own schools. One of the reasons one of the reasons I started this platform and have been doing the podcast thing is because I wanted to really invest in controlling the narrative, telling our stories, us sharing our experience, and not through somebody else. No, directly from our mouths.
Yeah.
With the diversity of perspectives that we have, but nonetheless, our thing, right? Our classroom. Everybody's welcome to listen and participate, join, but we're telling it how it is from our lens and our experience. And so that's why I wanted to have you on here, because I feel like people needed to hear directly from your mouth about what it is you're doing and what this school is about, Sankofa Learning Center, why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that much of what you're sharing offers hopefulness to others. And I think it also brings some joy to others. It brings joy, even, thinking about some of the responses that I'm seeing here, it brings joy for people to know that there are individuals like you grinding it out, working hard, making the sacrifice, investing in the community, building something for the community from the heart, for the people, not simply for business purposes. And so thank you.
Thank you.
We're rooting you on from here in Florida.
Yes.
Hopeful that at some point we can get up to the New Haven area and see firsthand what it is that you have going on, and learn firsthand from observations at Sankofa Learning Center.
For sure. It was great seeing you. I do want to put in one last thing, because I know that you are a music head like myself. So what are we listening to right now, Roberto? What's on your playlist right now?
No, that's great. To be honest with you, I don't have a lot of things on my playlist right now because I'm in create mode. And when I'm in create mode, I'm trying not to. I mean, you could learn from everybody, right?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make sure that I'm not listening so much that it feels like,
I totally.
how your flow's attaching to me.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be. And so when I get like that, I'm like, nah, I gotta start over. Nah, this ain't. I gotta stay in my lane, do what I do, deliver my message, because there is a temptation there to do what everybody else be doing and talk about what others be saying, because people be more into that sometimes. But oftentimes the stuff that people are into, that's not the stuff that I talk about. A lot of my stuff is not a lot. Like, my stuff is really centered around my faith and uplifting others and talk about what's going on in the community. But, trying to talk about it in a way where, yes, I'll address the issue, but I'm really trying to challenge and encourage.
Yeah.
I don't want to reinforce the nonsense. So right now, I've been listening to like a lot of Dominican dembow.
Okay.
Because of the flow.
Yeah.
Like, not so much the content. I'm not too thrilled with the content. It doesn't really align with kind of how I view and approach things. But the rhythms, right? It's like the rhythms kind of not only make me move, but it makes me feel happy. It brings joy to me. So I'm listening to it more, for the rhythms and to see how it inspires me to keep my message, but maybe deliver the flow slightly different.
I feel that. Yeah.
And then there's a brother KB who's out of Tampa. KB, his music really reaches me. I love what he's doing. His visuals are dope, but his message really connects with me. So listen to KB, and I don't know. To be honest with you, that's probably about it right now. It's just I'm writing and editing.
Yeah, I feel very affirmed in that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I told you now, the poetry book is like, even with the music, I'm like, I'm doing it, but it's not a priority right now because I got to get this book out. It's a passion project.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can't even do the other projects until I get this out.
Yeah. I
I
feel
can sell 10 copies. Nah, I won't be happy with that. I'm not going to.
we're going to aim for at least 10,000, okay?
Yeah. That's more like it. But my point is, I'm not so caught up in the units that we ultimately move.
Yeah.
This is something that's been on my heart to get out to the world for a long time.
Yeah.
And it chronicles a lot of my experience as a young man, a young adult, like, so, and Lorena and I, just kind of assessing the literary world, we feel like there's a gap in terms of YA poetry, some young adult
Yeah,
poetry. And so,
for sure.
like, why not us?
Yep.
Why not us? Why not me? And so I feel like I got some content that I think is going to speak to that young adult population. And also it's stuff that I'm looking back, right? I'm looking back at like the younger version of me, like, all right, that's what I was on at that time. And so it's also an opportunity for me to reflect. And then we really want to support teachers and take it to the classroom. So we're going to also provide a supplemental guide for teachers.
Okay.
And, again, right now I'm really heavy in the editing phase, but I'm also in create mode in terms of like, all right, let's create some videos, give them some visuals, because I
Yeah.
know from hearing me firsthand at the conference and whatnot, like the stuff that I share, you kind of gotta experience it. You gotta see me. You gotta hear me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think people will connect with the writing, but they gotta hear me to really feel the vibe, feel the passion, understand where I'm coming from, the tone. And so that's what I'm on right now, just really getting this editing done. Because again, it's us, it's our story. Just like you're starting your school, I'm like, I'm not waiting for the publishers.
Right.
Nah, we're gonna
Right.
do this us. We'll self-publish. It's all good.
Yep.
If a good situation comes up, we'll consider it. But like, that's not.
It's still gonna happen.
We're doing it.
Right.
Point blank, period. We're
Right.
doing it. We're getting it out. We're gonna publish it. I'm gonna be out there performing. I'm gonna do stuff virtually. I'm gonna do stuff in person wherever it makes sense, and by calming down and whatnot. We'll be setting up events where we'll have like I'll share some pieces, talk it through with the people, but then do some open mic, like have the community, have people share their work. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's going down. Do some videos, and so that's what we are. Once I get past that and get the book out, then I'll probably go back to the music.
Yeah, for sure.
So I will keep you posted. I appreciate you, and I know you're very supportive of what I bring to the table, and Lorena and us, as an entity, Multicultural Classroom. So thank you, sister, for the love and support. Thank you for the time. I know you have children, you have your work, you have the school that you're building. So you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to be here this evening. But there's love and there's support, and so appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. Thanks for having me.
Salute. Next time I'm in the Connecticut area, it's been a minute, but I got people out there, and I got fam actually. My guy Troy Lazaro and my guy Junie Willie Smith, they're in the New Haven area. So next time I'm out there, you already know I'm gonna hit you up.
For sure, for sure. Have a great night. Well, I was about to say stay warm, but you warm.
No, the temperatures dropped a little bit here.
You warmer than me.
I shouldn't even started saying that. I'm like, I'm in the middle of it. I'm like, yo, nah, stop, son, stop.
Warmer than me. Okay?
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. All right, sister, be well.
Peace.
Peace.